I started playing music when I was about 17, I would say. My dad was a player, and I always loved it, and would sit and listen to him and his friends play music, and I always wanted to have a guitar, and my youngest brother actually got one before I did, and I got him to teach me my first chords. My formal education in music is my musical friends and peers and my father, I guess. I got counted as my biggest influence. There's fantastic opportunities in Jasper as a musician. There's been a long tradition of different jam nights at different bars, and jam afternoons too, I might add. I was fortunate enough to play at the folk festival here a couple of times, once by myself, and a couple of times recently with a bluegrass band. I play music with people at least once a week, and sometimes more than that. I'd have to say, I believe she's a former recipient of the Music Award, Monica Schaefer. She's one of my neighbors, and has had some marvelous late-night kitchen jams, or sort of living room jams at her place, and that's a place where I've met and played with a lot of musicians. So we just kind of started playing casually together, and we started thinking, hey, this sounds pretty good, and so we started playing out a little and put our little band together. What inspires my music is I have a deep love for music, period, but the poetry of the music. Most of the songs I play I wish I'd written myself, and there's such a wealth of I always have a backlog of songs that I want to learn. It's what I like to do probably more than anything else, and I'm inspired by my family, my wife Kath and my son Ryan are both musicians too. Ryan's the best singer that I know, and he inspires me to be better. And it's something that I like to continue to work at. I'd like to be a better musician. I'd like to keep working at it and be as good a musician as I can be. So I don't read music, and what I play in particular by myself, I play a lot of fingerstyle music, and I've tried to teach people a few sort of basic things, but what I've tried to teach people is the same way I learned, is to really listen to the music that you love and that you want to learn, and you can learn things from it very easily. If you really listen hard and know just a few basic chords, you can put it together in your mind how to learn how to play just about any song. It's that passion that when you're doing that thing that you love, you're in a place of no thought. You don't have to think about anything. It's just something that you love to do. I get that feeling just even when I play just for myself, and I certainly really enjoy that feeling when I play with other people.
My hoop-iversary will be in December. My friend had a hula hoop in her house, and I went over to her house and I was like, oh, what's with the hula hoop? She's like, oh, I'll show you. And she shows me a few of her moves. I was like, oh wow, that looks really fun. She's like, oh, I can teach you. So I'm like, okay. And yeah, she teaches me some moves, and I wanted to get better at it, so I bought my own hula hoop after that and just never put it down. There's so much more to just a hula hoop than hula hooping around the waist. Babs Robinson is the girl that I learned everything off of. She's from Kenmore. Basically, when I hear a song, I'll kind of pick what kind of movements I'm going to do to certain parts of the song. So I'll kind of pick the song apart, and during the slower ones, I'll do more isolations, which are making the hoop kind of look like it's floating, and more dance movements. And then during the quicker parts of the song, I'll try and do like shoulder hooping because it's nice and fast. So it goes with the song. So I have to make sure I know the song before I actually perform to it. Shortly after I picked up hula hooping and really started to enjoy it and knew that I was really going to love it, she's like, Shauna, you can get hula hoops that light on fire. So I was just like, oh, that seems so cool. So I bought a fire hoop, and I just started learning about fire toys and different kinds of fuels and just all the different kinds of spinning you can do. And now I've got a set of fire fans as well, and I've also got a fire dragon staff on the way. So I'm really excited to learn new fire props. I've done a few workshops this year at festivals, at the Jasper Folk Music Festival as well as the Music Festival in Hinton. And I also did a few workshops for the Hinton Adult Learning Center at the Lodge for the Masquerade Ball 2 summers ago, as well as at Jasper's Got Talent and the Jasper Pride show 2 years ago as well. I'm hoping to get more into performing and more on the performing side of things. Hula hooping is definitely something more enjoyable outside, and when you have a really good environment and good music, it just makes it so much better. It gives me exercise, so it's healthy for you. It's really, really good for you because you're constantly moving, so it's always good exercise, and it's just fun to put on music and just dance and let go and just don't worry about anything and just move. Just let yourself go. Oh yeah, I've had people, little kids, just simply picking up a hula hoop and dancing with it all the way like to seniors. I did a little performance at the seniors home a few years ago and they absolutely loved it. And at the end I was like, anyone that wants to try, go for it. So it was really cute watching the seniors hula hoop.
Well, I actually started more as a teenager sort of thing, and it was more like a visual diary. I tried to keep a written diary and that didn't work, so I would just take pictures of events and places I was at and people. But it wasn't until I started here at the Palisades 15 years ago that I actually started to take pictures of things. My intention as well was to paint. So many of my photographs I've taken with an eye for how would that look as a painting. When you look at some of my photographs, that's what I was having an eye for. I was looking for color and depth. I will probably purchase a better camera someday and start carrying the big camera around to take shots. But I'm just afraid that that's going to change things for me. It's like I used to bake. That was my creative thing when in my 20s here, and people would buy my cakes for their wedding and things like that. But once people started buying my cakes and my pies, then it wasn't fun anymore. Then it put this pressure on me to make something more perfect. Once I feel that pressure, then it takes the fun out of it for me. Just living here in Jasper with its natural beauty, but also with the differences in the seasons and how just the different light each day can make the same view look like a different one. You go through the different stages, like you get a better camera that you can do with macro or something. So then it's the wildflower summer, right? Where you do all the photos lying on your stomach with your dog sitting beside you, taking photos of all the different wildflowers as they come into season. And different things inspire me. Sometimes I'll go, oh, I see faces on trees. So then I go through this whole stage where I'm out walking and suddenly then I notice it. And then I'm taking pictures of all different faces on trees, the scars on the trees from where the elk have chewed or scratched and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it changes, but I can't say I have a plan. It's part of who I am. It's just kind of spontaneous and I just go, oh, that would be kind of neat. So let's pursue that for a while yet. That is part of what inspires me, is the sharing and giving other people pleasure, or making them happy or sad or whatever happens. I guess artists, painters, that sort of thing, that's part of why they do it. So yeah, that is part of it. The sharing is a big part. And when I first started at the Palisades, I started sketching all the buildings and I was doing paintings and whatever. I gave them all away. Like I gave them to staff who moved on. I don't have copies of them. I don't have anything like that. My greatest pleasure is in the giving.
Well, when I was younger, I danced for about 16 years, so I was always on stage for dance, and then I used to do a lot of singing for country music, so I loved being on stage all the time. And then in high school, I decided to be in the theater program, so I was in all the plays and musicals throughout theater. No, I wouldn't say so. My family likes to be in the center of attention all the time, but no, I just don't put that. That's one thing that I really missed when I moved here, is having the opportunity to do any sort of theater or music or dance. And so to find the group that we found all having this theater in common, it was so nice to be able to have everything, have the beauty, the nature of Jasper, the small town feel, and then also have theater on top of it. Just made it so much more perfect here. Any training in theater was mostly high school. After high school, I joined the Edmonton Musical Theater Group, which was the most amazing, talented cast. And although I didn't have a big part, I was mostly chorus in it. I felt like I learned a ton from these people just being around them every day and how talented they were. I also think that I learned a lot from the person that has directed the majority of the plays here in Jasper, which is Sonia DeLeo. Maybe we've done 4 or 5 plays together, which she's directed. And I think in those times is where I've learned the most that I've learned in theater from the knowledge she's passed up on to us. Being a part of theater in Jasper is even more rewarding than being a part of theater in a bigger city, because you do know everybody, and it's amazing to know that everybody in this small community has came and filled the activity center or filled the high school gym to come out and support us. And then to be able to walk around town and hear from people how much they enjoyed it, where if it was a bigger city, maybe the majority of the people would have never saw it, or you'd never hear the feedback on how they enjoyed it or how it affected them. So I think it's more rewarding being a part of this small community that has supported us and let us do what we love to do. Theater gives me this sense of adrenaline. Once you're up there, you work so hard day after day, being nervous, having anxiety towards this one performance or maybe 2 performances that you get to do. And then when you're up there in front of all these people, the feeling of getting to have people react to you right then and there, to either laugh at a joke that you're saying or cry in an emotional moment or have that immediate feedback. Theater, it's a part of me. I love entertaining. I love getting the reaction from people in the audience. And I love the challenge of getting to be a completely different person than you are in your everyday life.
I started in kindergarten underneath furniture. I was always allowed to draw murals under furniture and worked my way up from there. I always had pencil crayons, I always had felt pens, I always had paints, and I always painted. After high school, I applied to a few places and got accepted to Nova Scotia College of Art and Design, NASCAD, and I did a foundation there, which was fun. They introduced us to all different mediums. My favorite was printmaking, so I focused on printmaking for a while, and then took a year off, traveled, and then did a year also at Emily Carr. I do art with children constantly. I have a whole chest of art supplies in case kids come over. So my influences are kids. Well, I think we started at 2001, did we not? Greg Deagle, myself, Claude Bucock, and we gathered at the Sunrise Gallery upstairs, and we used to squat in different abandoned buildings, and then the museum. So it was really fun, and we've never really looked back. Now we're homeless a little bit, but that's okay. The library will get done one day. I've had a few shows of my own, partnering up with Melissa Woodcock at the museum, and that was pretty fun and well received. And then just independently through my home, I help with building sculptures for pregnant women and painting them, or helping with pillowcases or murals for their children for their rooms. Where I live in Jasper influences my artwork incredibly, specifically because I live in whiteness and snow most of the months of the year. So I need the fire and the colors and the brilliance of my palettes to spark my imagination. And for me, that's also a meditation. When I look out and it's white upon white upon white, I usually go in and start painting. Winter is a very productive time for painting for me. I have tried landscape painting, and I seriously want to nap. I love the beauty of the mountains and the trees and the rivers and the rocks, and I can feel their energy, but I never really am called to paint them or capture their energy ever. It's just mostly my imagination, my internal gaze. The act of painting consistently every day, like yoga and meditation, it's a non-drug application to healing, and it works.